Anything you put your mind to, you accomplish. And you never back down cause you deserve it. The light shines in you cause you're the realest. And you walk by faith, you're optimistic. You inspire me, girl, you inspire me. You're so inspirational. Inspirational. Welcome back to Your Inspirational. Today I have with me the lovely minister, Laketha Hicks, author and minister. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm excited to hear about your book. So let's start with the first book. Talk about it a little bit and what inspired you to write the book.
Okay, so my first book is called Redemption, The Story of a Woman. Everybody always asks me what inspired me to write this book. It was not on my list of books to write. I was working on a book.
Mm-hmm.
This was not in the list of those books. God literally just downloaded this book in my spirit. And when he gave it to me, I don't know the moment I started writing. I just remember texting my sister saying, I'm writing a book. And he literally lined everything up from the publisher to finishing it. He just poured into me this book.
Wow.
And when he gave me the title, I was like, Lord, are you sure? And he was like, I needed to be open to every woman. Like, I
Yeah.
don't want it to put the character in a box. So
Yeah.
when I tell you God literally downloaded this book in my spirit, he literally downloaded this book in my
That's
spirit.
amazing. Okay. And so a little bit of what is the book about?
Okay, so the main character in the book is Tamala. So the book basically takes you on a journey of watching her go in and out of poor relationships. You
Okay.
get to see her relationship with her mother, with her friends. The relationship with her mother is a poor relationship as well.
Okay.
You get to see her go through tragedy, go through ups and downs, and
Yeah.
also build a relationship with God. So it's like you go on a journey with this person and you watch her um, get to know who she is as a person, become
Mm-hmm.
whole, and
Yeah.
understand from the past. So it's just, I think everybody that reads this book can see themselves in it. I've
And
had a
so
lot of
part
women.
two
Oh,
is
go
like
ahead.
a continuance. That's what it is about.
Yes. So
Okay.
book one ended with like a cliffhanger, like you like,
Okay.
okay, what happens next? And so
Okay.
book two is just a continuation of Tamala's story. Finishes where book one started off, let people know where she is now, where she's going in life now, and
Okay.
the other characters also. You get to see her
Okay.
growth progression.
Wow. And so with ministry, I know I've heard you preach and different things. So what led you? Well, I know that God calls us into ministry. So how did you begin? And were you ever kind of hesitant to become a minister?
Yes, so ministry was not something that of course, me being shy, I was not volunteering to stand in front of people
Yeah.
and talk and do anything. But the church I was at, my pastors, they came to me. There was this opportunity to lead this women ministry, and they were like, "We want you to do this." And I said, "Well, let me pray about it. Let me
Yeah.
ask God. Let me pray about it." You know, we have that God, if it's you, give me this sign type
Yeah.
of spirit, and that's what I did. I was like, "Well, Lord, if it's you,
Yeah.
let me know by doing XYZ." And he did. And I
Yeah.
still was very hesitant about moving. And one day my pastor came again, they just gave me a date and it was like, we need you to teach on this
Yeah.
day and
Wow.
this time. And I sought God and he gave me what to teach. And I started from there. And
Okay.
yes, it was scary. Very
Huh?
scary. I said it was very scary.
Yeah, and so with that being said, was there ever a time when in your heart that said, okay, if I don't do this, God is not going to give me more? Because I know that once you start stepping out on faith, God will continue to bless you and help you reach whatever person you're supposed to reach, or be what He wants you to be. So, how did you manage?
I think I'm still kind of in that process a little bit, like trusting him, learning him, knowing him. I've had personal moments in life where God has told me not to do certain things and I did it or
Yeah,
didn't listen, and the consequences were
great.
unfavorable. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I understand what it is to not listen to him just by
yeah,
one experience because it cost me so much. I
yeah,
always try to listen.
yeah,
Um, I feel like when you're growing in him, like right now, I'm in a place where he's taking me to a new level, like in growth, like giving me wisdom on certain things, teaching me certain things, putting more gifts in my life. So it's kind
Yeah.
of like, Lord, is that you? I don't want to say something or do something that's not him.
Yeah.
And so it's a little scary sometimes, even that teaching for years and being in ministry for years, when he
Yeah.
called you to that next level, it still can be scary and it still
Yeah.
can be uneasy, but
Yeah.
just as Nike say, just do it. Like I'm kind
Yeah.
of like, okay, Lord, if this you, I'm just gonna do it. I don't know what's
Yeah.
gonna happen, but I trust him.
Yeah. So how was your childhood? Like, were you raised in the church or were you just like, one day you said, okay, I want to get into God or I want to learn about him?
Good question. I'm glad you asked that. So growing up, I mean, we went to church once or twice, here and there, but most of my life, like middle school, high school, we spent a lot of time with a lot of different religions. So we had Mormons coming by the house, Jehovah Witnesses coming by the house. We had all these different people. When they say dealing with people in the ministry that are not true, like the
Yeah.
prophetic, where people are false prophets, we dealt with
Yeah.
all of that stuff. So at a point in time in life, we told my mom, look, we can't do this anymore. So
Yeah.
we didn't go to church for years. Even when I
Yeah.
got to college, my friends wanted to go to church. And I'm like, I'm not going to church. Why I want to go to church? Because I hadn't been for years. I didn't
Yeah.
know God. I didn't have a relationship with him like that. I knew of God, but I didn't know him.
Yeah.
I feel like he just kind of snatched me up somewhere along the way. When I went to the church I went to, I tell you this much. The last church I went to was Hand of God Ministry. That was my
Mhm.
last stop. I
Okay.
had told God, I said, I am not going to another church after this church.
Yeah.
If this church does not work, I'm done. Because I had
Yeah.
been to a few churches here and they just weren't up to par, to put
Yeah.
it in a nice way. And I was gonna quit. I was
Yeah.
done. But the way those people poured into me, the way those people helped deliver me and taught me, oh my gosh, that's where I
Yeah.
really got a foundation on knowing who God was, what it was to really truly live a life for him, in
Yeah.
him. So yeah, it was like, this is it, Lord.
Okay. So let me take you back. So you said, like, false prophets and different things were coming. How could you tell at that age that they were false prophets and talk about it, like, prophecy?
So the reason why I knew it was a false prophet, because I confided something in this man. So he was like, I think I was going through something as a child, and he asked me, you pouring out. It's almost like going to a counselor, and the
Hmm.
session is supposed to be between you and the counselor.
Yeah.
So the conversation he and I had was supposed to be a conversation between he and I. But
Mhm.
one day I was in the car with my mom, and my mom was very strict. So I had a crush on this guy. This is how
Okay.
simple the conversation was. And she went off on me as we riding down the road about me having a crush on someone. And I'm looking like, the only person I told this was that prophet guy that
Yeah.
was in this church that was
Yeah.
supposed to keep this confidential. And not only that, you watch people pouring money into people.
Yeah.
Um, and all of those things. It wasn't until, like I said, I got to Hand of God Ministries that I understood that there are true prophets,
Yeah.
because one of the ministers spoke to me. And when she began to speak to me and say, God said certain things about me, I was looking at her like, the only way you know that is
Is if you
God
talk to
literally
God.
having spoken to you.
Yeah.
So after a couple encounters like that, I began to realize, like, okay, there are true people that really walk in God, that
Yeah.
really hear from God. He really does speak. And everybody is not out to hurt you. Everybody is
Yeah.
not out to take from you. And there are some real Christian folks. There are some really true believers that's living this life out. And it was
Yeah.
because of the foundation that I got from that ministry that I changed my mindset.
And then so with that, like, how has it been with you, as in just life with other people, like, just being a witness to people? Like, what do you do and like what's your process and how do you encourage people to get God instead of being afraid to go see a church or talk to people at the church and confide in people? So your experience, how are you relating that or helping other people?
I think in everyday life, I can say, especially on my job, being in leadership, you talk to a lot of people, and a lot of times people confide their personal issues, and sometimes it's pretty serious. You walk people through poor relationships, you walk people through sickness, you walk people through some of the worst moments of their life, and that's the opportunity to pour into someone. I had someone one time, a young guy, come to me, and he was like, I want to know who God is. I want to read the Bible. I don't know where to start.
Yeah.
And based on the conversations I had with him, I was able to tell him to go to Joseph. I said, you
Hmm.
remind me of Joseph. Your life reminds me of him. I think you should start there. And when I saw him a few weeks and months later, he literally was like, that spoke volumes to me.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's important for me to stay in the word for that reason. I think um a lot of time, like God told me one time, he said, it's not about you, it's about the people
Yeah.
connected to you.
Yeah.
And so that made me realize that even when I don't want to get in my word, when I don't want to
Yeah.
pray, when I don't want to fast, I'm somebody's only connection to him. When they
Yeah.
need prayer, I'm it. And I
Yeah.
try to tell them my story. I didn't always know God. It's okay to start from where you are. It's okay that your life has not been perfect. Even me knowing him, I still mess up. I
Yeah.
feel like being honest and
Yeah.
open, and true and real with people is what people need.
Yeah.
And I always tell God, I'm like, I'll always be honest. That's what I always tell them. And what I mean by that is I'll tell you the good, the bad, the ugly. I'll tell you
Yeah.
that every day I'm not walking in faith. Every day I'm
Yeah.
not like, oh Lord, I trust you. There are moments I complain. There are moments I'm frustrated. And I think being that real with people
Yeah.
draws them into God and gets them to
Yeah.
want a relationship with Him.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of it, just being real and
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah, that's a good thing that you just said that because I was thinking about that and thinking about how some people, like in church, they seem so self-righteous, like they don't do anything. And it's like
Hmm.
you have to have some honesty and, like, tell them, like, this is where I fail. And there are days
Hmm.
when I'm thinking crazy. So I'm like every day asking God, like, let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart, like just repeating that. Because sometimes you do want to respond out of character and you don't supposed to because you have the Holy Spirit, but you have to tell the truth. Like those things are going to come up, those feelings are going to come up in you. So what you got coming up next? I know you got the
I
book.
am, yes. So right now, that's pretty much it. I got a book signing coming up next Saturday from 2 to
Okay.
4 here in Huntsville at the Madison City Library. So
Okay.
anybody want to come out to that, they are welcome to come out. I open it up to the public. Hopefully, it's an opportunity for me to talk to people about the book, sign books for those that bought books, those that don't have books, they can come buy books. And hopefully this is like the first of many. I do have 2 other books that I gotta finish working on. I gotta
Oh, yeah.
sit down and finish working on them, but
Yeah, you got this.
he got me on a journey. He has
Yeah,
me on a
that's a
journey.
blessing. Yeah.
Mhm.
And so with ministry, like you are willing to go places, like if people call you, you want to give your information or like email just in case someone want to call you for like a women's ministry or girls ministry somewhere.
Yes, my email is laketha.hicks@gmail. That is LAKETHA period HICKS at Gmail. I check that daily, like
Okay.
faithfully. So if somebody wants to reach me and they can reach me at my Gmail. I would love to do ministry. I feel like if I had someone to come and talk to me when I was younger and tell me about life and tell me what it means to be whole, because I
Yeah.
heard a lot of people say, you need to be whole, you need to be whole, but I didn't understand what that meant
Yeah.
until I went on a personal journey to understand what that meant. And I'm like,
Yeah.
if I could go back to the 18-year-old me and tell
Yeah.
her the things that I know now, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, you could
Yeah.
save a lot of heartache, a lot of poor
Yeah.
decisions.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Yeah, if I can go way further than teenage years. But I mean, things happen. So yeah, but that's such a blessing. So I just thank you so much for coming on here and
Thank you for
talking.
inviting me.
Pleasure. Well, y'all stay tuned for the next Your Inspirational, and we'll be back, okay? Thanks for watching Your Inspirational. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, all right? See you next time.